All right, Shalom. Let's start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors unto our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who do teach and rule well, taught us this 100% truth. Peace, love, and salutations unto the Lord's elect, the hopeful, elect, and the one-third. You out him out there pushing his word in truth and sincerity. And to those of you who are also scattered to the four corners, unto you we say Shalom, Wa Barakatham. All right, this lesson, all right, is inspired by some recent events, okay, revolving around Trump, okay, as we know him to be Nero, okay, as we know him to be the cruel Lord, all right, as mentioned in Isaiah. And so, a few things that have taken place over the past few days, all right, which one of them is Trump's gift to the money launderers. And it says the Treasury isn't merely shutting down an anti-corruption database, it's deleting the data so future investigators can't use it. All right. And basically, what this is getting into is that the Department of Treasury, they announced over this past week that it would destroy the government's registry of shell company ownership. All right. Basically, all of the shell companies, they're required to, register and do certain things within the government. And basically, like it goes into here, all right, it's basically a database that Treasury is by law required to maintain so that law enforcement can more easily, quote, follow the money when investigating crimes. Even worse, the Trump administration will also destroy all the data it has already collected so that no future presidential administration or local police department can use it either. It's like Trump ordering the deletion of the FBI's entire fingerprint database. All right. And, bro, that's beautiful, honestly, man, because the people are starting to see how much corruption. All right. Here's another one, which this was a post on X, right? Or, I think people still call it Twitter. But anyway, it says Trump putting himself on the black horse is an incredible bit of accidental symbolism. In Revelation, the rider of the black horse represents famine and scarcity, with basic food costing a day's wages. So apparently the AI finally generated one presidential portrait with some historical accuracy, you see? And that's beautiful, man, all right? Because the Lord is opening the eyes of these people, man, to see what's really going on, okay? Here's another one dealing with the ships, all right? And basically, okay, the sailors are exposing, that they're living under horrible conditions, okay? It reads, not just the Lincoln, families describe human waste, no food, no end in sight across multiple ships. Since Midas Touch began reporting on conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, all right, which we'll just pull up this first article, rotten meat, no milk, troops detail life aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln. Okay, and basically it was text messages shared initially, all right. But again, getting back to it, okay, since, Aaron Parnas is the guy who wrote this and the investigator into it, all right, since he reported it, all right, he's had other military family members and service members across multiple ships and even multiple branches reach out. Taken together, they paint a picture of a crisis that extends well beyond a single carrier. All sources below are being kept anonymous to protect them and their loved ones from retaliation. All right, and it says they are not making anything up. All right, which really shows, man, that America is through. Okay, you only have, I believe they only have 3 aircraft carriers, all right? And basically, one of them got, partially destroyed by Iran by a drone. I think it was one of their suicide drones, all right? And then the current one, which is the Abraham Lincoln, I believe, is the one that's being pulled out, and the third one is coming in. All right, and ultimately, what that has left no ship towards China, towards pointed towards the rest of Asia. All right, And basically, that leaves open that area in China, which, Lord's will, China will go ahead and invade Taiwan. That'll be beautiful, man. Okay, because, at the end of the day, all right, this place is over with, man. All right, and, as we're going to get it, the cruel Lord down in here in 4, and then we'll grab that in Revelation, in regards to the black horse, which is very spiritual, But, in Salakia, for this past week, it was, kind of out of commission, man, down and out. And, we're getting ourselves back into but, anyway, all right, Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yashai rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Exactly. When our Lord Yahweh Shai, who the world only calls Jesus Christ, returns, right, he's coming on a chariot, a big cloud. All right. The prophet Ezra said it was as if he graved a mountain, That's the only way he could describe it, like a mountain in the air where it had no end, Verse 2, and this is what you're seeing here in America. And I will set Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Exactly, man. And, you have all this infighting going on. Okay, you have, military service members, openly going against the empire. Okay. We have had it bad as well. Human waste, no showers, no supplies. All right. They even said that, some of the sailors, all right, tried to jump off the ships. All right. They had no food, water, or soap for 136 days. All right. And there's the message here. All right. My brother and his fiance are both in the Navy. And I can confirm what you have been reporting. His fiance is on the USS George H.W. Bush, not Lincoln, and was recently back in the U.S. for a family emergency, so we were able to talk to her. She told us how they had virtually no food, water, or soap. They've been out at sea for 136 days with no end in sight. Morale is low, and everyone is miserable. It's heartbreaking. Okay? Look, even people in Kuwait, all right, on land, whose mental health has deteriorated seriously, bro, because these conditions, man, all right? And if these are the military, these are the people who are supposed to protect you, you're protectors of the earth, man, you're the hammer, you represent the hammer, man, okay? That military might, all right? Crews exhausted, all right? She said sailors with more than 20 years of service are calling this the worst deployment they've ever experienced. Okay. That last sentence right there. Okay. And let's see, there was another one. Sailors trying to commit suicide. Okay. Sailor jumps overboard in suicide attempt on USS Abraham Lincoln. All right. Navy response to reports USS Lincoln sailors are trying to jump overboard. You see? And of course, they denied it. All right. But, this guy, Parnas, all right, he might actually have an article on it. Okay, I don't see it. And it might be in one of these, particular articles. But anyway, even feminine products and everything else, man, so you got, organizations being shut down that, is meant to track corruption. All right. You have the ones who represent your military might, who can't even get regular supplies and food and, in horrible conditions and experiencing low morale. All right. And, again, this is just only with this Iran fiasco, man. Okay. So we really seeing, man, All right, this cruel lord at work. All right, and also as we're about to read here, the spirit of Egypt, man, which is just failing. All right, Isaiah 19:3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua of hosts. Exactly, man. And, you know, again, the spirit of Egypt is failing, man. You can't have your military might, you know. You can't have your, you know, the strongest piece, all right? Again, because that's indicative of the hammer, okay? Edom's military might, all right, has been implemented throughout the world by its military, you know, force, man. Okay, by the greatness of its military. All right, and and the cruel lord. Okay, the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord and a fierce king. All right, it's Trump, it's Nero. You know, it's kind of like when he was playing the harp and Rome was burning. All right, and that's what he's doing today. Okay, he, you know, they asked him about it. All right, here we go. Aaron Parnas, because they asked him about it. They asked Trump about it, and he responded. You know, Trump said they were lying, but Aaron Parnas responded. He says at least 12 family members of service members have told me they are concerned about the conditions on the Lincoln. Okay, so again, just hammering it home, man. Okay, and you know, it goes to show, man, these devils, man, these devils are in for a rude awakening. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Okay, what else do I have to say?
Family members of U.S. service members are concerned about the conditions on board the USS Lincoln.
Well, no, that ship is moving. No, they're not. That ship is moving right now, or very shortly, and it's being replaced with another very similar ship.
See, so he said, no, they're not, man. They ain't complaining. And that ship is moving. We got another one that's about to come in, you know, so it's over, man. It honestly is over, man. Okay. Let me see here. What do we want? Excuse me. Okay, Revelation chapter 6 and 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Okay, and you could kind of see everything going on, man. All right, and how this guy, okay, Nero, all right, one of his decisions, like a balance, ultimately and immediately impacts the other side, you know. And with this whole Iran thing, all right, and just everything going on economically, you know, the tariff ruling that got, you know, overturned, the billions of dollars that got sent back to the corporations, you know, and then the people are you know, upset, you know. And then you have the military families, which now, you know, I heard that they were basically having sailors, you know, sign NDAs, man, to stop talking about things, you know. So don't be surprised if this gets swept under the rug like everything else, man. All right. Revelation 6 and 6. And I heard the voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. All right. And basically, all right, a measure of wheat, okay, for a penny, was basically back in Rome was a day's wage. Okay. Excuse me. All right. for a penny. All right, dinar. Okay, denarius reads a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC increased to 16. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. Okay, and a penny, pence, pennyworth. But again, it was just the denarius, the silver coin, right, used back, okay, during the Romans, all right, which is spiritual because, all right, Revelation is still dealing with, Rome, all right, Daniel 7, all right, and America, Babylon the Great, all right, is the byproduct of ancient Rome, all right. It is that deadly wound that was healed, okay. It came out of that same system and re-implemented it, all right, in perfect wickedness, So, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. See, the wisdom, knowledge, understanding of this truth, all right, and being able to, pick apart these events, all right, and see how, the cruel Lord is operating, man, and see how, okay, the conditions are becoming less favorable towards the people, all right, and, as a king is, so are the people, as a judge is, so are the people, all right. This was another article just to kind of add in there, all right, because it adds to it, okay, and it reads Homeland Security paid almost $500 million for airplanes, and then they parked them, So you have so much information just coming out, man, and just the corruption, all right, with this monopoly money and crypto, and his son is his son's net worth, all right, Barron's net worth surpasses Melania. Look at that, man. Okay, this guy's net worth has passed his fake mom, all right. Barron Trump's net worth surpasses Melania's, reaches 150 million, okay. And basically people are tying it to all of the corruption and money laundering that's happening, the insider trading, and obviously the AI is going to say otherwise, but here it is. Unverified social media rumors claim Barron Trump engaged in insider trading by making multi-million-dollar oil and crypto trades just before major geopolitical announcements by his father. No credible evidence or official investigations have verified these specific allegations against him. All right, but you have it, man. All right. Constituents sending letters to senators. Okay. These are formal petitions, man. All right. So, hey, again, man, the spirit of this place is through. Okay. The spirit of Egypt, all right, is over with, man. Okay. The grinding is low. All right. Let's grab that in Ecclesiastes. All right. Excuse me, man. Okay. Hey, we'll start at verse 1. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Exactly, man. The keepers of the house are trembling, man. All right. Every single market. Okay. Ultimately. All right. Every single market outside of the government, outside of the empire itself, is trembling, man. All right. You got AI, which is just doing circular financing back and forth. So that's going to pop real soon. All right, you have the people in the uproar over data centers, you know, and so much more, man. Again, look at just what we've covered in this short span. All right, there's so much going on, man. It's difficult to keep up sometimes, man. All right, we can't cover everything, but that's why we have other men, all right, who are putting these lessons out, man. Okay. In the day, verse 3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. Exactly, man. There was another report, you could Google it, all right, but basically it said that people are quitting their jobs, man, because they just have enough. They just quitting, it don't even matter, man. All right, it's overly cooked, all right, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Exactly, man. All right, and another reason why the grinders cease because they are few is because everybody's gonna have to join that military, man. All right, they're gonna be it's the same thing they do in Ukraine, where they pick people up off the streets, and send you to the front line. They're gonna be doing here, man. All right, again, look at what's going on and what we've covered, in just a short 20 minutes. All right. And your military might is already showing, all right, chinks in its armor, man. Okay? No end in sight. All right? It's already, okay, for basically, the past week or so. All right? It's already been showing its showing how bad things are, man. All right? And meanwhile, American families lost $220 billion to rising costs. All right, while Nero pocketed $2.2 billion. All right, his son magically, $150 million. He basically made, all right. He basically made what people, what their rich kind of people make in like a lifetime. He made that in a little less than 2 or 3 years, man. All right, which he had money before, okay, but you get the point. All right. Anyway, man, so again, the spirit of this place is cooked, man. The grinding is low, all right, and the people are done with it, man. Okay, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the doors of music shall be brought low. Exactly. All right. And this place is just through, man. All right. We need to get out of here, man. And it's beautiful that we're at the end. Okay. But thanks be unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. All right. Again, I can't hit on this enough, man. All right. The spirit of Egypt is failing, man. All right. Again, you have the hammer itself, man. The military might itself, okay, bucking up against the system, man. All right, because they can't even operate correctly, without the basic essentials that they need. All right, so, again, hey, look for these military conflicts to increase further, and that's gonna force. All right, they don't have enough rockets. All right, this place is circling the drain. The military might can't even hold off Iran. All right, don't be surprised if China gets ready to invade Taiwan, man. Okay, especially if they escalate in Iran. All right, and another thing about Elam's military. All right, China creates all of the semiconductors for his military, man. So don't be surprised if there's something going on behind the scenes where the Chinese are limiting the semiconductor production that's needed for their Patriot systems or for, some of their bigger, military, gadgets or, necessities, man. So, yeah, man, that was the point. Lord's will use edified until next time we say shalom.